Today we're going to talk about your physique. One of the main benefits of having a good physique is losing all that facial fat, which is going to make a massive difference, having a much more defined face and having much more of these masculine facial features. Now it's ideal to be in a range between 10 and 15% body fat. It's going to look very good, and anything below that is just hard to maintain. Not just is the diet really hard, but it's also going to be really bad for your health. See, it's going to cause major drops in testosterone, which is going to lead to lower energy and lower libido. Now a good way to know if you're lean enough is if your abs are visible, but to be honest, I'd say a six-pack is pretty overrated when you have the rest of this physique. So if you're above 20% body fat, which looks something like this, you want to go for a cut. This means you're going to lose all that weight, so you're going to be in a caloric deficit. You're going to eat around 500 calories below your maintenance calories, but you're still going to do a lot of resistance training and eat sufficient protein because you don't want to lose all those muscles. So for everyone else, I suggest you go for a bulk. That means you want to eat around 500 calories more than your maintenance calories. Anything above that is just going to make you look fat, and it's just going to be even harder to cut in the end. So what you want to achieve in the end is this ideal V-taper physique, where your waist is a lot slimmer than your shoulders, your top. You're going to have those broad shoulders, and you're kind of going to look like a little Dorito, like this beautiful man. The muscles that give you this kind of width are your lats, your lateral deltoids, and also your traps. But it's very important that you train your entire body. Now there are a lot of muscle groups that are oftentimes neglected, and you want to make sure you really get a proportionate physique. So train your rear delts, maybe even train your forearms, train your calves, whatever's underdeveloped, just train that. You may not notice having bigger legs, but girls are going to notice, and it's just going to look better overall. Ideally, you want to train each muscle 2 times a week. That means if you've only got 2 days a week where you can train, or 3 days a week, you want to go for a full body split. If you've got 4 days a week, you want to go for an upper-lower split. And anything above that could be something like a push-pull leg split. In your training, you want to apply progressive overload. That means you're going to increase the weight gradually. You can also increase the reps, just anything that increases the difficulty, the intensity of your workout. Because over time, you're going to get stronger, you're going to make more gains, and you want to adapt to that intensity all along. When training, it makes a lot of sense to focus mainly on hypertrophy. That means you're going to be in a range between 8 to 12 repetitions per set. And you're going to have around 3 sets per exercise. Now it's very important that you make sure your form is good, and maybe if you haven't been in a gym yet, start with only machine training. That's going to make sure that you don't use any bad form, and you're going to develop very good muscle memory, and you're not going to injure yourself. Now training isn't everything that affects your physique. Your posture also makes a massive difference. Now if you train your rear delts and your traps, your posture is going to look better automatically because it's just easier to maintain that straight posture. But generally, you want to make sure that you press your shoulders back and you have a very straight back. Push out that chest, and don't leave your head hanging like this. Make sure it's pushed back. If you leave your head hanging like this, it's going to be what we call a nerd neck, which is what happens if you sit in front of a PC a lot, for example. And that's something that affects most of our generation. Now, if you want to affect your posture long term, you want to do some stretches, like those shown right here. But your body posture isn't everything. Your tongue posture makes a massive difference as well. You've probably heard of mewing. This is basically where you push your tongue to the roof of your mouth, which is going to give you a different face shape. Whenever I push my tongue to the top of my mouth, this weird area below my jawline is just going to disappear, and I'm going to have a much more defined face. But there's also some long-term benefits to doing this. There was actually a study with 2 identical twins, and they were both wearing braces, but one of them had a contraption that forced them to mew. And after a couple of years, it turns out that one of them had a much nicer face shape, the one that was mewing. So mewing has most long-term benefits if you're young, because that's where your face develops the most. However, it has benefits for everyone, especially because it forces you to breathe through your nose. Now, apart from various health benefits, nasal breathing is the way to go. It really affects your face shape, as you can see with those pictures. If you look at the mouth breather and the nose breather has a much more developed jaw and just looks a lot more handsome in general. Jaw exercises are another thing that can really boost your facial attractiveness. See, if you look at some people with really developed jawlines, it just looks a lot better, and that's because their jaw muscles are more developed. You can achieve this by simply just chewing harder foods or chewing more gum. There's also these jaw exercise devices that you can buy off the internet that a lot of people like to use, but I've got a problem with those. They can really help your jaw muscles, but overdoing that can really destroy the cartilage in your TMJ. Alright guys, and we cannot talk about your physique without mentioning nutrition. See, everybody always says abs are built in the gym, but revealed in the kitchen. And this actually goes for everything else in fitness as well. See, there's no point in training hard if you're not going to feed those muscles with the necessary protein to build them. Same goes for sleep as well. You need recovery to actually build muscle efficiently. So if you're on a cut, you want to be in a caloric deficit, meaning you consume less calories than you burn. So it makes more sense to eat foods that are very filling, but not that high in calories. You want to go with the typical chicken, rice and broccoli, for example, but there's much more different variants out there. And for you bulking lads out there, it's obviously the other way around. You want to eat stuff that makes you really bulky. Stuff that's high in calories, but you shouldn't be too filling, so you can eat more and more. In general, I can just say stay away from those super hyper processed foods. The types of foods that have a ton of different ingredients. You want to stick with the unprocessed foods, so basically where the food is just the ingredient. Like a potato, for example. Potatoes are great, very nutritious. In general, for everyone, I can say you want to have a high protein diet because building muscle is something we all want and it's just generally healthy for you. Same goes for fats. Healthy fats is what you want to mainly go for. Now in fitness, your nutrition is also composed of some supplements. In fitness, creatine and protein are very popular. Protein powder is popular because you can't get all your protein needs in one day from only foods. At least most people can't. The reason for that is that to efficiently build muscle, you need around 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And since that's very hard for most people to get per day, so protein shakes can be very helpful. Same goes for creatine. So creatine, around 5 grams of creatine are very helpful for you because they increase your performance in the gym and they make your muscles harder by increasing water retention. Caffeine is also a big boy supplement out there. See, most pre-workouts are actually only full of caffeine and the other ingredients don't do much for you. So you may just stick with the OG. Caffeine does not only increase your performance in the gym, but it can also be hunger suppressing, which is really good for those who are on a cut. Now you want to be careful because caffeine builds a tolerance. Around 2 to 3 times a week can be good for those special occasions. And make sure you don't take it too late because you don't want to mess up that sleep and kill them gains. Now for everyone out there, the bare minimum supplements you need are fish oil, vitamins and minerals. Now we don't get enough micronutrients from our diets. It's actually been proven that our food gets less and less nutritious over the years. And the only way we can combat that is to have these supplements. Fish oil is high in omega-3, which our body can't synthesize, so most of us are also deficient in that. And if you want to go that extra step for your health, you better try some OPC for some strong and healthy nails and hair. Collagen and hyaluronic acid are also very good for some strong, healthy looking, moisturized skin. And remember guys, you don't need to be a bodybuilder to get girls. A lot of girls actually aren't as attracted to sebum as we are. Shame, isn't it? Getting in shape is a lot easier than you think. All it takes is a couple years of consistent training, maybe 1 or 2 years. And after that, you can focus on main gaining. You can lay back a bit more, train maybe 2 to 3 times a week, and you'll still maintain that dream physique. Now it goes without saying that you need to consistently have a good diet, good sleep, and take the good supplements to stay looking healthy. And do not smoke, guys. Remember, you don't want to get complacent and slack on these habits. Especially if you get into a relationship, you shall not get complacent, which a lot of guys do. I've got an analogy for you guys. Imagine you buy an iPhone 14 Pro Max with all the greatest specs. But after a while the camera gets a bit blurry, it gets a bit slower, the battery isn't that good, and the screen is also pretty slow. At some point you'll just be stuck with an iPhone 11. Do you really want that? Well, if you don't, you better not do that to your girlfriend. Stay on the grind and never get complacent. Congratulations my friend, you've now built a killer physique and you're looking so good. So now you can show yourself to all the girls naked. Whoa! But we need to fix that bush of yours. In the next video, we're talking about grooming.